You have a pool, and while they're nice to have, they require a lot of work and upkeep. What if there was a way to cut down on some of the required pool maintenance? That's where the Aiper Surfer S2 solar pool skimmer can help. I will be going over everything from general specs to testing and seeing it in action. I'm Wanderer001. Let's get into it. Starting things off with some general specifications before we actually show this in a pool. You are looking at a device that is 21.3 inches long, has a width of 16.3, and that's to these little wheels on the side, which I'll go over in a moment, and has a height of 7.9 inches. It also is 12.6 pounds, which isn't terrible, also considering that there is an easy to grab handle right up here. Starting at the top, because, well, that's what we're looking at right now, there is a very large solar panel that takes up the majority of the actual top of this skimmer, and that's because, well, this will help charge this unit, allowing it to pretty much run indefinitely as long as you get ample solar. There also is, on the back, a start button and a light indicator for your Wi-Fi as well as battery status. This has been improved over the previous versions where they were located on the back. So now you have a visual display right up front letting you know what's going on. And here you could see it's looking for the Wi-Fi, but we do have a full battery, and right there it has connected to my Wi-Fi. I can press to turn that off, and now things are off, and you hear it's not on anymore, but you probably didn't hear it because of the wireless mic that I'm using. When the battery starts to run low, if you don't pull this out to charge, it has what's called a solar seek function, in that utilizing the front optical sensors, which I'll show you momentarily, the Surfer 2 here will move its way to a light source, hang out there for about 15 minutes to solar charge, and then resume its cleaning. Now, I did mention the front. On the front here, we do have a carrying handle, which is very nicely placed. But if we also bring the front into view, on either side, we have these two optical sensors, which will help one with obstacle avoidance, but also getting this to a spot where there is sun. Either side, you have these wheels. These wheels are so that when it bumps up against the side of your pool, that it doesn't actually scratch anything, and they just kind of roll along. Even though it has optical sensors for avoidance and solar seek, the unit is still going to kind of act like a old school RoboVac, in that it's not going to have a set pattern. It's just going to work its way around your pool in a randomized pattern and kind of getting all of the stuff that way. So no set rhyme or reason to it. Coming down, we have the front here. This is our impaler, which is brushless. It spins, it sucks water in and debris, and actually has a very generous 8.5 inch opening. So that's going to be able to get a lot of your debris in there without having to worry about it getting stuck or pushed aside. If we come to either side, we can see here's our wheel. We have a little rubber bumper strip right here, as well as channels that feed to our actual motors in the back, which I will show you. We also have a button here, which we can talk about a little more for the bottom, but this will drop down an actual guard or guide that will prevent your robot from getting stuck on stairs. But all the way in the back too, we also have a little wheel to, again, help gently guide this to where it needs to go. If we look at the back here, we have our two motors. This is a brushless motor system, so it should be relatively quiet and long lasting. It has an auto roam or a manual guide mode. So if you want to drive this around, you actually could. It also has a reverse. So these are capable of reversing. Right here, if you need to charge this because the solar is just not cutting it where you happen to have this, well, there is a charge port right there and a very thick rubber gasket to help prevent water from getting in there. You also have a water pass through right here to help with the filtration. If we come to the bottom, you can see the anti-stranding design. So in the back, you've got two legs that pop out. As you can see there, there is no height adjustment with that. It's just a one stage. But if you press the button on either side for the front, like you saw me do before, you actually have a adjustable strand right here. So you can get that to the actual amount that you need without having too much extra sticking out to help keep this as water dynamic as you would expect it to be. So you do have 4 legs allowing you to kind of keep this from getting stuck anywhere, which is a nice thing to see. If we look here, we can also see the starts of our debris catch. Right here, this is actually an adjustment lever, the 3-inch chlorine tablet that you can have, so you can kind of adjust how much chlorine actually comes out of that. But if we come to the front, we can actually take a closer look at the debris catch simply by pulling the front here, and you'll notice the impaler comes with it. So let's take a look at our catch here. Our debris basket has a load capability of 4 liters and is actually open from the back. So you have the front here with the impaler, and then we kind of come around to the back and it opens up. Now right there you can see your hold for your chlorine tablet right there. And then again, adjustable from the outside. You also have this filtration system. It is a 150, and I'll put on screen the actual unit of measurement. But one of the things that this does very well is if it's wet and you take it out of a pool and there's stuff in there, notice there's a little drawer or flap here. And this is to prevent things from backwashing out into your pool when you're removing this. So as the robot is taken out, this will come up and prevent things from coming out through the front here. And there you can see I just kind of close it up. So that's open, that's shut. So that'll help keep things from popping out at you. But I want you to see just how fine this screen is. There's gonna be very little that this does not skim off the top of your pool and keep trapped inside. And right there, we could just close it up. I like that it has a convenient little carrying handle. So you pull the robot out, take this, go dump it out somewhere, and then simply place it back in and easily removed from the front right there. The Aiper Surfer S2 has a 56.16 watt-hour lithium-ion battery that will give you 35 hours of continuous runtime without relying on the solar charge or plugging it in. If you do need to charge this and plug it in to charge, it takes about 4 to 6 hours to actually do. Weather resistance of this robot is kind of spotty on the Aiper website. They say it is high temperature and UV resistant. As you might imagine, this is going to be living in your pool and exposed to the elements. So time will tell how well this holds up, but just know they didn't actually give any specific IP rating for it. Connectivity to the Surfer S2, you have both Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, but only the 2.4 gigahertz spectrum. Now that we've fully gone over the Surfer 2, let's see what else we get in the box with it. We've got our instruction manual, small pool noodle, read more card, shows you where to get the applications, and then manual. The robot, kind of covered up, plastic. Here is your charging peripheral. Now that we've seen everything that we get in the box with this, including the pool noodle that you kind of use to shove into your filter areas to prevent this from getting stuck. So you can just drop it and set it to go, but this is a smart device, so there is a setup process. Let me show you what that was like. This will be setup of Aiper Surfer S2 robotic pool skimmer. I have the application already on my phone. There's 2 ways that we can do this. We can either select the plus sign here, which will automatically throw it into Bluetooth mode, or we can select the plus sign in the upper right-hand corner, which will allow us to add it via Bluetooth or via QR code that's on the back of the device. First things first, we do have to power this on. Power button is located at the front. Press and hold for 2 seconds. You can hear it kind of starting up. There is a Wi-Fi indicator as well as a battery light right there. And the device itself is actually already starting to try and just go. So make sure you have this lifted or not in an area that's going to get hit. I'm going to select the Bluetooth option right there. It has found the skimmer already. I'm going to select pair, and it has successfully paired. Done. Simple as that. Next, we're going to add it to my Wi-Fi. Password has been inputted, and now we're just going to wait for it to connect. I heard a beep, so I'm guessing that means it connected. There we go. We'll just leave that as the name. And it is showing that it is online and has 78% battery left. So that was setup. I mean, Bluetooth, way to go. That was really, really quick. Now that setup's out of the way, again, smart device means that there is an application that you can pair with this to do specific things. I will say that the application is rather bare bones, but I don't need a lot of complexity with something like this. Let me show you what you could do with the app. This is the application for the Aiper Surfer S2 robotic pool skimmer. As you can see here, this is the landing page when you first come in. I only have the one robotic pool skimmer, so there aren't others for me to swipe through. There's a couple things I want to bring to your attention on this page in particular. Upper right-hand corner, this is going to be how you add devices. Plus sign will let you add via Bluetooth or add via a QR code. Coming down here, if you don't have anything, there'll be a plus sign. You can see that portion of the setup. This will be any notifications you got. So right now, I don't have any notifications, but you might have seen I did get an alert saying that my device is stuck. That's because right now it's not in a pool. It's just running in my garage, propped up. So I could show you the application because you need to be within range of the robot being on to actually do this. So it lets you know that it's on, what the battery level is. It gives you a little image there. Up here at the top, you might think, well, this is just to edit your robot's name. And kind of, it's actually to name the location, in my case, test pool, but it's other things more than just that. It's what type of pool do you have, above ground or in ground? What is the shape? This is all going to help the robot in skimming around doing what it does. In fact, the shape of it, and then length, width, and height, and then done. This is all going to be information that the robot can use. Now over here, you could see this is the temperature and UV rating. These are not things that exist on the robot itself, but more from the data that you put into the application ahead of time. So I gave it my zip code and it's telling me right now, it's not the greatest time to be doing a pool skimming robot review, but this is when we do this portion of it. Down here at the bottom, this was all under the home screen. If you come over to support, it's going to say, here are all the models of stuff that we have. In this case, I have the S2 and here's the manual and some frequently asked questions. You've got, again, information about your account, the application, verification, warranty, all that. They have a live chat. And then over here, this is going to be settings for the robot and application itself. So settings, you have account management, notification settings, app language, unit settings, and clear the cache, and then about us, and then how do you want your notifications to be done. Up here, you'll notice next to my name, there is an arrow which will allow me to change my picture and the name. But coming to our pool skimmer, if we hit the enter, the front screen interface changed a little bit between when I first started filming versus when this went live, in that there's now the version 2.0, which gives you access to a play pause to start your robot or pause it. Then you can come over to your virtual controls, allowing you to back up, go this way, go that way. We can stop that. Still remains paused. And they introduced scheduling. So if there's specific times that you'd like your device to actually go out and do stuff, you can do that. So you could set a start time, an end time, simply by doing that and then adjusting this way. And then it lets you know for optimal cleaning, you should have at least 3 hours. And you can choose days of the week and then select save. Those are the major changes with the version 2.0 of the firmware. When you're starting it again, operate the device only in an empty pool. Don't show me this again and confirm. And now it starts up. And those were the changes. Right now, you're going to see this is a notification that popped up while I was talking. It's letting me know, hey, the robot's stuck. So if I come in here and I say, yes, this was able to resolve it, it's not stuck, but this notification will stay there until the robot thinks it's not stuck. So it's got light sensing beams on the front of it that kind of let it know that it's moving around. And right now it's not because it just pointed at a wall. So sadly, for this portion, that's going to be there. Normally it's not. You see a little animation of debris going into the robot itself. Down here at the bottom, this is actually a control. So you can manually control this back, left, right, and that's going to move the propellers around. However, this is only accessible when you're over Bluetooth. If you're not over Bluetooth or within Bluetooth range of this, you will not have access to these controls. Not terrible, but just something I want you to be aware of. Coming to the upper right-hand corner, we've got our 3 dots. These are going to be the settings for the robot itself as opposed to the application. Right here, you can see we can edit the name. So I'm leaving it as that for the time being, but you could change that if you want. Here we can see the individual run cycles that I've been having so far. So it's been used for a total of 3 hours for a total number of 5 cleanings. So here you can see it's letting you know automatic cleanings. This one was 146 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 minute, 5 minutes, and currently this is our 8-minute runtime. And you did see when we were back on this page that before it said it was stuck, there was actually a number there as it was counting down. This really is just a drop in and go type of robot. The application is more to give you information about what it's doing, and if you wanted to play with it more than like needing to actually set this up. You would need to do it for firmware, as you can see right there, but the rest of it, you can just drop this in, press the go button, and it does what it needs to do. Coming down, we have our device information, lots of sensitive information in there, not going to show you that. Network configuration, this is how you get your robot on your Wi-Fi. Next is firmware. If I come in here, you can check for firmware updates, or if you leave this on automatic, if it's close enough to your Wi-Fi, it'll just update itself, and then instructions of use. And it's got a lot of important information that you can utilize if you had questions about the basic usage of the robot. But I'm telling you, it is ridiculously simple to just drop this in the pool, hit the power button, and let it go about its business and do what it needs to do. Down here, we have our unbind. So if you wish to remove this device from your account, that's how you would do that. You can see the timers kind of started over there, coming back to our main page. And that has been everything that we could do for the Aiper Surf S2 in the Aiper app. Now that we've seen all the controls that we have with the application, what's next? For me, I like to thoroughly test something. It's been sitting in the garage here, and I understand that you want to see this in some water. I don't have water at my particular residence. So let's jump to a friend's house who will be inheriting this and show you all of my testing, where I test audio samples from the front and the back. I'll show you it in action, and I will attempt to do the solar seek depending on how the shading is in his yard. So let's take a look. This will be audio level test. That's our baseline. We're going to move it to the front for the front propeller sound. You can kind of hear the back propeller kicked up. As it's driving around. Outside you wouldn't really notice this, it's not bad. Now, there is a lot to like about the Surfer S2 here, and don't get me wrong, if you've got a pool, it definitely helps to cut down on the maintenance. However, with anything, there are always going to be some cons to consider. For me, one of the first is actually the price. If you've got a small above ground pool, yes, I realize cleaning it yourself might take some time, but I don't know if the price of this justifies having it. If you've got a larger in-ground pool or even a larger above-ground pool, I could see this paying for itself fairly quickly, but a small circular above-ground pool, you know the ones that I'm talking about, this might not be cost-effective for you. Also, with that in mind, the size of this unit. Yes, bigger pool, great, it's bigger, you want it to be bigger, so it doesn't have to do as many passes to catch everything. But if you've got a smaller pool, this is definitely going to take up a lot of space and get in the way. The fact that you can only control this over Bluetooth and not Wi-Fi, I feel like it was a missed opportunity. I get that, yes, if you want to control where this goes, it's better that you're in close range, but I still feel that could have been done over Wi-Fi. That's just a small gripe for me. As well as the fact that, and I realize that this is a ask, and I've gotten spoiled with robot lawnmowers, that it has a camera that I could actually kind of see what's going on. So if it had a camera and Wi-Fi controls, then I could control it in the pool and just kind of drive it around. That's just me. One extra con that has showed up is shown right here. Because of the way that the basket and impaler are situated in the robot, they just kind of sit there. It is possible for smaller pieces of debris to make their way around the impaler and kind of sit in the
line that the basket sits in and collect. Now, it's not terrible, but it is something that I wanted you to be aware of. And the beauty of it is, they're not going to float away all that far. So if you just kind of aim things and set it up right after you empty the basket out, 9 times out of 10, the robot will just go and actually pick it up so that they don't get stuck again.
So con-wise, for the biggest thing to consider is actually the price. But while I, myself, do not have a pool, my friend, who I got this for, loves it. It has helped him cut down on the upkeep that he needs to do for his pool, and he can spend more time enjoying it. And while I feel this would be better for a larger in-ground pool, it can still be useful for most above-ground pools, except those very small ones. Because of that, I can recommend the Aiper Surfer S2. Does this sound like the pool robot that you've been looking for? If so, I will have a link where you can pick one up for yourself in the description area below. If you appreciate the time and effort that goes into making comprehensive videos like this, make sure to hit that like button to help other people find the video as well. If you like what I'm doing here and want to be notified of my next review, hit that subscribe button. Looking to automate more of your outdoor chores? On screen now, you'll see 2 other reviews I've done to help you make a more informed decision for yourself.